Hello there, it's K9. I know I've been gone for a while. I've been busy working on some projects, but I'll save that for another time because we gotta talk about something serious that's gonna happen at the end of this month. You see, at the end of July, the Xbox 360 marketplace is gonna close down, meaning that some digital exclusive Xbox 360 games are gonna go full-on extinct pretty soon, while other games are gonna be added to the endangered species list. One such game that's gonna be added to the endangered species list is Armored Core Verdict Day. When it comes to playing older Armored Core games, perhaps the hardest thing isn't exactly playing the games themselves, or beating the toughest boss in the game, but more so finding a used copy at a reasonable price. Because of this, the toughest boss an Armored Core video game collector can come across is a scalper. Because From Software doesn't tend to renew any of its older Armored Core games, sometimes sellers can jack up the price of used copies from anywhere between 100 to 200 or more per game. And sometimes these used copies don't even come in the original case. And don't even try looking for a digital copy on Steam. If there's an Armored Core game that was made over 10 years ago, as far as From Software is concerned, it doesn't exist. Now, that's not to say that it's impossible to find a used copy of an Armored Core game at a reasonable price. You can get lucky and find a used copy of, let's say, Armored Core 4 for about $20, which is a reasonable price. However, if you find something on, let's say, eBay, you are sort of gambling with your money because there's no guarantee that the used copy that comes into the mail is going to work properly. Now, in the case of Verdict Day, unfortunately, it's not exactly at a discount. Currently, a digital copy on the Xbox 360 marketplace costs $20. Personally, I still prefer to have physical copies of games over digital ones. But when you factor in how much time and energy it may cost you to look for an actual physical copy, I'd say $20 is a reasonable price. So if you still have an Xbox 360, this may actually be a good time to get it. At the same time, if you're someone who has just recently gotten into Armored Core from playing Armored Core 6, I'd say don't stress over it too much, because it is an older game and therefore it doesn't have the same level of support as, let's say, Armored Core 6 does, such as no more online multiplayer. The graphics also won't be as good as Armored Core 6. On the other hand, maybe you're someone who has played other Armored Core games in the series and somehow you missed Verdict Day. Or you just recently got into Armored Core with Armored Core 6 and you really want to play some of the older ones, then I'd say get it. If you're still on the ropes of getting it, then I would recommend looking up some review online. I cannot give you a proper review myself since I've only just started playing it. I will say the game handles pretty well, even for an older game. It's still Armored Core and it's still going to feel like Armored Core. Based off of my research from what I've read online, this is considered to be a slightly more difficult game in the series. However, I myself have not struggled too much. I have died a couple of times and failed a few missions here and there, but just like it with any Armored Core game, you just go into your loadout and change whatever it is you need to change, and you learn to adapt. The best description I've heard for Armored Core games is that they're more like puzzles, and there's more than one way to solve each puzzle. Now, aside from Armored Core, there are actually some pretty good deals going on the Xbox 360 marketplace. For example, you can get Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, 4, and the reboot for under $6. Now, you can still get the Devil May Cry games elsewhere, of course. You can get them on the PlayStation, you can get them on Steam as well. And you may be better off playing them elsewhere, but it is hard to argue with the price, since each game is $1.99. And Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 all come in the HD collection. Maybe you've also been curious about playing that one standalone reboot that came out a few years ago, but you never could justify spending so much money on it. Well, for $1.99 now you can actually try it out. At the same time, I would say don't be too hasty in buying these games. Yes, the Xbox 360 marketplace is closing. However, a handful of these games you can still buy them on Steam. You can also buy them on the newer consoles for PlayStation and Xbox, the Devil May Cry games being one of them. I did also check out Final Exam, which at first glance you may be quick to assume that it is an Xbox 360 exclusive. However, you can look on Steam and you can find it right there. However, if you're someone who prefers to play video games on console, then maybe this is a better choice. Also, not everyone has a pretty good gaming PC, in which case playing on a console might lead to a better experience. While not every game on the Xbox 360 marketplace is at a discount, there is a list of some games that are at a pretty good discount right now. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me today. I'll see you guys later.